This is a scoring video for the TGMD-3. There are some differences between the TGMD-2 in our previous video and the TGMD-3. One hand, forehand strike of self-bounced ball. Now this is a new skill for the TGMD-3. And underhand throw. In the TGMD-2, there was an underhand rolling skill. So I've named this student Billy Somebody. The date I tested him was 2020, January, day the 20th. His date of birth is the year 2011. The month was September and the day was the 28th. His chronological age is 8 years, 3 months. He is a male. He attends World Elementary School. He is right hand and right foot. The examiner name, Miss APE, and examiner's title, APE Teacher. This is what I scored Billy for. So in the run, he did really good in the run. He got a skill score of 8. In the gallop, he also did very well. And he received a skill score of 8. In the area of hopping, he scored a 2. Very similar with the skipping. He got some zeros, a couple of 1s and some zeros. So he scored a 2 there. Horizontal jump, he scored a 6. The slide, again, the second attempt, he didn't manage to get any scores. But on the first attempt, he did meet some of the criteria. So he scored a 3. Locomotor total raw score was 29. For ball skills subtest, the two-handed strike of a stationary ball, Billy scored a couple of 1s, some zeros. Skill score 6. The one-handed forehand strike of self-bounced ball, Billy on the first try didn't score any. He did score 1 criteria on the second skill, so he got a skill score of 1. One-hand stationary dribble. On the first trial, he just met 1 criteria, and on the second trial, he met all the criteria. So he scored a 4. The two-hand catch, he did well. He scored on all the trials, and he scored a 6. Kick a stationary ball. He did very well, and he got maximum points. Skill score 8. Overhand throw. Billy got a couple of zeros, and he met 1 criteria on trial 1, so he got a skill score of 1. And finally, the underhand throw. On the first trial, he met all requirements. On the second trial, he only met a couple of the requirements, so he got a skill score of 6. Ball skills total raw score is 32. First thing we need to do is find the raw score for the locomotor and ball skills. We already got the locomotor raw score at the bottom here on the other page, which was 29. So I'm going to write 29 right there. The raw score for the ball skills was 32. Write that in there, 32. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is find the age equivalent. I'm going to take table B.1, converting subtest raw scores to age equivalents. Billy's locomotor raw score was 29. I'm going to look under the locomotor column, and I'm going to find the number 29 right here. I'm going to go across under the column of age equivalent, and that gives me 5.6. I'm going to write 5 5.6 years. Billy's ball skills raw score was 32. Billy is a male. I need to look under the male column for ball skills. I'm going to go down the column until I find where 32 would be, which would be in this bracket between 31 and 33. I'm going to go along and we've got to 5.6 for ball skills. We're going to now find the percentile rank. Take out table C.1, converting locomotor subtest raw scores to percentile ranks, scaled scores, and confidence intervals for males. Billy scored a raw score of 29. He is 8.3 years. I'm going to go along the top to find his age bracket right here. I'm going to go down the column to find his raw score of 29, which is right here. I'm then going to go along the column, and that gives me a percentile rank of 9. To find the scale score of locomotor skills, we're going to go back to Billy's age group. We're going to go back down to 29. And instead of going left to the percentile rank, we're going to go right to the scaled score. Billy got a scale score of 6. I'm going to write that 6 in the scaled score box. Next to the scaled score, there is confidence interval. We can go with a 90% or a 95% confidence interval. In this case, both intervals are between 5 and 8. I'm going to take that 5 to 8 and write it under confidence interval. We're going to find the percentile rank for ball skills. I'm going to take the page, table C.3, converting ball skills subtest raw scores to percentile ranks, scaled scores, and confidence intervals for males. Once again, I'm going to go along the top to find Billy's age. He is 8.3, so this is his age column. He scored a 32 for ball skills, so I'm going to go down the column and find where 32 falls, between 31 and 33. I'm going to go to the left, under where it says percentile rank. He scored a 5. I'm going to take that 5 and write it under percentile rank for ball skills. If we go back to the right, back to where we found our raw scores, if we go over, we have a scaled score column, which is the next box. He got a scaled score of 5. So I'm going to write the number 5 in the box. Next to the scaled score, we have confidence interval. The confidence interval for this at 90% is between 4 to 7, and 95 between 4 and 8. I have chosen to go with 95% confidence interval. So I'm going to take this number here, 4 to 8, and write it in here, 4 to 8. We're now going to find the descriptive term for each locomotor and ball skills category. We need to find the scaled score down here in section 4, descriptive terms. Scaled score. So for locomotor skills, Billy scored a 6. I'm going to go along where it says scaled score, and I'm going to find where it's a 6 right there. I look underneath that, and that tells me below average. I'm going to write that here. I'm going to go to ball skills. He got a scaled score of 5. Under section 4, I go along where it says scaled score, and I find the number 5. I go underneath. That tells me borderline impaired or delayed. I'm going to take that descriptive term and write it here. Okay. The difference between scaled scores is 5 and 6. The difference is 1. This is not important. If there was a number in this box greater than 3 or above, that would be statistical difference between scaled scores. 6 or above, clinical difference between scaled scores. The next thing we're going to do is the sum of scaled scores. We're going to take the 6 from the locomotor and the 5 from the ball skills, add them together, and write the answer. We're now going to take the sum of scaled scores, which was 11, and we're going to write that in this box where it says gross motor, sum of scaled scores. We're then going to take table D.1, converting sums of scaled scores to composite indexes, percentile ranks, and confidence intervals. We need to find percentile rank. The first column is the sum of scores. Our sum of scaled score is 11. I'm going to go down to number 11. I'm going to go across to the next column to find the percentile rank. Billy's percentile rank is 4. I'm going to write that under percentile rank. I'm going to keep going across to gross motor index. Billy has a gross motor index of 73. I'm going to write that 73 in the box that says gross motor index. I'm going to continue to go along the column. So I'm going to continue to do 95% confidence interval here. I'm going to write 95. And this is 67 to 82. So I'm going to take that 67 to 82 right there. Finally, we're going to find the descriptive term for Billy. We're going to look under section 4, index score. The gross motor index that Billy got was 73. We're going to take that 73 of gross motor index and go along the index score line and find where 73 falls, which is right here. This means that Billy is borderline impaired or delayed. I'm going to write that under descriptive term, age. When talking to parents, it's often convenient to use age equivalents or descriptive terms. So we've determined that for locomotor skills, Billy is performing at a 5.6 years of age, and ball skills also 5.6 years of age equivalent. For locomotor, Billy is performing below average, and ball skills borderline impaired or delayed. Billy's overall gross motor descriptive term is borderline impaired or delayed.